Hello everyone, welcome to the When at Work podcast. You're with the host, Julian Leahy. Today I'm joined by the fantastic Dan Hafner and Maxwell Ivy. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me, Julian. Excited for this, man.
Okay, the Jeoparty music did not come on. Here it is. Okay, we're going to play. Let me just run through the categories. First category is England, glass, sports, US history, world geography, and bees, as in honeybees. All right, in the hot seat on the left is Dan Hafner. You can kick things off. What category would you like, Dan?
I'm a big U.S. history guy. I got to go U.S. history for 100, please.
U.S. history for 100. Some 30 years before his cousin's New Deal, he gave us a square deal. Ooh.
I'm going to go with Theodore Roosevelt.
Teddy Roosevelt. Let's take a look. Do you want to have a guess just in case, Will? Maxwell, sorry.
I'm pretty sure he's correct.
Okay, let's take a look. Teddy Roosevelt is correct. Well done. Dan, 100 points. You're in control. What would you like?
Give me U.S. history for 200.
U.S. history for 200. In 1870s, cartoonist Thomas Nast gave Democrats and GOP these symbols.
Okay. What is the elephant for the GOP? What is the donkey or ass for Democrats?
You know what? I've always wondered why the Democrats get the ass. It seems a little unfair. Let's take a look.
Well, blame Thomas Nast.
The donkey and the elephant is correct. Well done, Dan. You're on 300 points. Don't worry, Maxwell. You will get a turn to dominate. What would you like, Dan?
Let's stay with what's hot. Let's go U.S. history for 300.
U.S. history for 300. President Wilson founded this world organization, which America never joined.
That one I don't know.
Which ones did they join? Which was the one that Trump was trying to get him out of?
Oh, gosh, I should know this.
I can't remember.
I would venture a guess. I would say, what is NATO?
All right, you have a guess with that, and then we'll bring in our esteemed Maxwell. Would you like to have a guess?
But we are a part of NATO.
I believe it's what is the League of Nations?
League of Nations. Interesting. Let's take a look. The League of Nations is correct. Well done, Maxwell. You've stolen control and equaled the score in one fell swoop. What would you like? We've got England, glass, sports, US history, world geography, and bees. Everything's available except for 100, 200, and 300 of US history.
Well, while this is his category, I'm going to keep it simple and just stay in U.S. history for 400.
400 US history. The Spanish-American War led to this Caribbean country's independence.
What is Cuba?
Interesting. Do you want to have a guess, Dan, just in case?
I will say, what is Mexico?
Let's take a look. Cuba is correct. Maxwell's on fire. 700 points. Dan's on 300. You're still in control, Maxwell. 500 for US history is left and everything else.
Yeah, U.S. history for 5.
US history for 500. He was the first American in space.
Who is John Glenn?
Oh, this is a trick question. I was thinking somebody else. Do you want to have a guess, Dan?
I don't know this one. I will say I do not know.
I always think it's Neil Armstrong, but that's because I'm uneducated. Let's take a look. It's actually Alan Shepard.
Huh.
Who is Alan Shepard? Is this correct? I've never heard of him.
Me neither.
Well, we'll Google it after. Well, hopefully the questions are correct. You're still in control, Maxwell. What would you like? US history's finished. Everything else is available. England,
Let's go to glass for 100.
Glass for 100. About 90% of all glass is made from this material.
What is sand?
That's correct. I'll also accept silica. Let's take a look. Sand is correct. Well done, Maxwell. You're on 800 points.
All right, so glass for 200.
Glass for 200. This glass yarn serves as insulation in a vintage Corvette's body.
What is fiberglass?
Fiberglass is correct. Well done. On fire. 1,000 points, Maxwell. What would you like? Glass for 300?
Yes.
A small terrestrial telescope. That's weird. Isn't it just a telescope?
Small terrestrial telescope.
Ah.
I don't know. I'm gonna have to give my fellow competitor a shot.
Let's open it up to Dan. Small terrestrial telescope.
Not my category. I will venture a guess out of left field. Binoculars?
Monoculars?
But binoculars?
Oh, binoculars. Okay.
Maybe,
Well, I'm going to
perhaps.
guess. Now, I think I've seen the answers as I did upload them to the software. I think it could be spyglass, but that's just me cheating. Let's take a look. Spyglass is correct. No points. But Maxwell's still in control because Dan was not able to answer correctly. You've got glass for 400 and 500 still left, and just about everything else except for US history.
All right, so glass for 400.
Glass for 400. The glass curtain at Mexico City's Palace of Fine Arts was made by this company.
I'm gonna just have to take a total guess here and go with what is Corningware?
Which Corning? Was it Corningware?
Corningware?
That's
I'm
a
probably
good
wrong,
answer. I was thinking, who does glass in the United States? Dan, do you want to have a guess?
Pass.
You'll pass on the glass. Let's take a look. What is Tiffany? You're still in control. Now, Tiffany does a lot of crystal and stuff, so I can understand that. Maxwell, you're still in control. We've got glass for 500 left, and I'm all blurry, and just about everything else.
Yeah, I'm kind of off my roll, but let's finish the category.
Glass for 500. Offshore winds are favored for creating glassy water in this spectacular activity.
Glassy water, a spectacular activity.
It's a sport that is very much loved in Australia and also California.
Okay, so are we talking surfing?
Let's take a look. Do you want to have a guess, Dan the man?
I was thinking weather activity, but you kind of gave it away there. So yeah, I'll
Pretty
I'll
juicy
pass.
hint.
Yeah.
What is surfing is correct. Well done, Maxwell. You're absolutely on fire. 1,500. Dan's on 300. Dan, I still believe in you. You could get control and just wipe the board. But for now, Maxwell's in control. What would you like? We've got England, sports, world, geography, and bees still available.
I don't really care for any of those, but let's go to sports for 100.
Sports for 100. Hopefully it's baseball. You seem to know about that. Porky, nickname for an American football.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Porky, nickname for an American football. The actual ball.
What is a pigskin?
What is a pigskin? Is correct. Well done, Maxwell. Very logical. You're doing very well. So we've got sports 200 and everything else. England, world geography, and bees. Would you like sports 200?
Yes, please.
Let's do that. A filly becomes a mare at this age. What? I don't know what age stages.
I don't know either. I don't know either. But because they race 3-year-olds at the Kentucky Derby.
Logic. So they race 3-year-olds, so it could be 3-year-old is when it's a mare. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
That's very logical, and I have no answer at all. What is 4? Oh, so close. I should have given you a
I would
shot.
have said 3 as well.
I
would have said 3 as well. Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't lose anything by the incompetent host not giving you a turn. All right,
So
Maxwell.
let's continue with sports.
Sports for 300. According to rules, the strike zone in baseball extends from the batter's knees to here. Interesting.
What is the shoulder?
Yeah, it's either the shoulder or the nipple. What's your guess, Dan?
Chest.
Chest. All right, let's take a look. Armpits is shoulders. I'm paying Max on that one. All right, Max, you're on 1900.
I was torn. I actually thought about saying armpit. It just didn't feel right.
It
I
felt too
learned something
smelly.
about baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so whatever the next clue is in sports.
Is 400 sports. This bowl game changes location every year. Bowl game. Interesting.
Changes location every year. What is the Fiesta Bowl?
Dan,
What is the Cotton Bowl?
what's wrong with the big one?
Well, I guess this doesn't specify if it's NFL or college. You know what? I will change my answer. I will say, what is the Super Bowl?
All right. I feel like that's a better answer. And keep in mind, I did upload these questions. Let's take a look. What is the Super Bowl? It's correct. Dan, I think I might have thrown you a lifeline. You have got 700 points. Maxwell is feeling a bit jilted by that, but he's still on 1900. What would you like, Dan?
Sports for 500, please.
I try to give everyone a little bit of a hint. The number of laps run in the Indy 500.
I believe it is a mile-long track, so I will say 500.
So is a mile 100, what is it, 100 yards? We don't use these weird measurements in Australia.
I believe one lap is 1 mile, and it's an Indy 500. Which means
1 mile
500
laps,
miles.
500 laps of 1 mile. Let's take a look.
Wait a minute. Do I get a shot?
You do. Okay, what's your shot?
It's what is 200?
200 is correct. And you know what, Maxwell? I'd accidentally revealed the question, and for the first time in history, it wasn't a problem. You are correct. 200 is the answer. Maxwell, you are on 2,400.
I couldn't see the reveal. I like that. Yeah,
So it worked out perfect. Usually I mess things up. All right, you're in control now. We've got England, world geography, and bees left.
Well, I don't like any of these, so let's go with England for 100.
England, Britain's 4 p.m. coffee break.
What is tea time?
Yeah, that's what I think. Would you like a cup of tea? Tea time is correct. Well done, Maxwell. Would you like to continue on 200 for England?
Yes, please.
Let's take a look. Though he never slew any dragons there, he's England's patron saint. Who's famous for the dragons?
Would that be St. Andrews?
That's what I think, but I don't know. What do you reckon, Dan?
I would guess something. I would say St. Edward, maybe. I don't know.
Okay, well, so we got an Edward and an Andrew. I feel like it's Andrew as well. Let's take a look. Oh, of course. Now, we've got a rugby team in Australia called the St. George Dragons, so I should have known. But Maxwell's still in control. England for 300, Max?
Yes, please.
English barons forced this royal enemy of Robin Hood to sign the Magna Carta. English barons, so the royal enemy. Who was the royal enemy of Robin Hood? Well, it's got to be the head honcho.
Who is King John?
You know what? I'd accept King. Let's just go with King. The King of England. If you get John, I'm going to give you an extra 100 points. King John is correct. Incredible, Max.
Nice.
You have done it.
You can never really rely on things you learn from the movies, but I guess this time it worked.
It worked well. You're paying attention in the movies. That's the difference. I don't. It comes in one ear and out the other. But we still have England for 400. What would you like? Would you like that one? Yep.
Yes.
Nickname for London's financial district. I guess it's like London's version of Wall Street.
You know, I don't have a guess at all.
Dan? Oh, what is it?
Like I said, I don't know.
I know when I hear it, I'm going to know it. No, it's not coming. All right, let's take a look. What?
The city.
The city? Okay, that's the nickname. All right, well, they call it the city. We'll have to Google that one. And what was the other one we need to Google? Sounded a bit sus. Anyway,
I can't remember.
I'll find it on the
I don't
replay.
know.
You're still in control, Maxwell. 500 for England. Let's do it.
Yes.
He's also known as the primate of all England. King Kong?
No. I have no guess.
What does this mean? Does this mean the head honcho? Maybe. I don't think it means actual monkey.
I still
Okay,
don't have a guess.
I tell you what. The two most important people in England in the olden days was the Archbishop and the King. So, it's got to be one of those.
What do you think, Dan?
Are we looking for a species, or is this like primate? Obviously,
Oh.
I would think it's.
I don't think so. There's no primate monkeys in England. It's too cold.
Well, based on your hint, I'll venture a guess the Archbishop.
Maxwell, might as well go the King, I reckon.
I was thinking if, based on the primate, maybe it was Prime Minister.
Okay, right, let's do it. Prime Minister versus Archbishop. The Archbishop of Canterbury is correct. Dan has wrestled control away from Maxwell. Well done, Dan. What would you like? We've got World Geography and Bees left.
World Geography for 100, please.
This canal's official opening was on July 12th, 1920.
I would venture to say the Suez Canal.
Interesting.
No. Sorry, Panama Canal. That's what I meant. Panama Canal. That's what I meant. Suez Canal is not in. Yes, Panama Canal.
Darn.
Please.
Darn, I was sitting here waiting to see if he was going to change his answer.
So, what do we
Panama
got?
Canal. Final answer.
So, Maxwell, what are you going to pick Suez?
No, he's right. He's right.
You may as well pick Suez just in case.
I will pick it, but he's right.
Okay. The Panama Canal is correct. Well done, Maxwell. Let's do a little score check here. Maxwell is on 2,800. Dan is on 1,300. If Dan goes on a rampage here, he could win it. Dan, we've got World Geography and Bees left. What would you like?
World Geography for 200.
Africa's northernmost country. It was once site of an ancient Carthaginian empire. Carthaginian. I always think that has to do with map making, but that's cartography.
I guess my geography is rusty. I used to be very good at this stuff. I would venture to say I'm going to go with Egypt.
Egypt. Maxwell, what would you like?
I'm going to go with Algeria.
Algeria. Interesting. Very obscure, which makes me think you might have this correct, Maxwell. Let's take a look. Tunisia. Well, you were close to Algeria. Well, you were close to Egypt as well. You were both pretty close. All right, Dan, you're still in control. World Geography 300 or something from Bees.
Yes, 300, please.
Country that's larger than US but smaller than Canada.
Oof, that's such a broad range. I would say I'm going to go Australia.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Might be us down here. What do you reckon, Maxwell?
Larger than the U.S., but smaller than Canada.
What about Russia? Is Russia bigger than?
I don't know. I'm going to go with what is Kazakhstan? Because I have friends who tell me it's like the 5th largest country in the world. So
Very nice. Let's take a look. What is the People's Republic of China? China.
Oh.
Okay. We both missed that one. Everyone missed that one. Dan, World Geography for 400 or Bees?
Yes, 400.
To evade French defenders, the Germans attacked France through this country in both world wars. Where did they go? They went
I
through.
watched so many things on this.
Yeah.
No. What is Belgium?
Belgium, right? Maxwell?
I believe he's correct, but just in case he isn't, I'm going to say the Netherlands.
Netherlands. Did they go there as well? Incredible. Let's take a look. Belgium's correct. Well done, Dan. All right, let's score check. Dan's on 1,700. Maxwell's on 2,800. He's still safe for now. But Dan's in control. Would you like to finish off World Geography 500?
Let's do it.
The Blue and White Niles meet at this city where General Chinese Gordon met death. Never heard of any of that.
I don't know why. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to say, what is Alexandria?
Interesting. Maxwell?
I believe he's right.
Okay, let's take a look. Khartoum.
Ooh.
Where is that? That's kind of... Is it Egypt or...
You mean you uploaded these clues and wasn't a little bit curious as to where they were?
I'm a busy man, Maxwell. All right.
As are we all, you know.
I just load them up, and as long as it doesn't break my website, we're all good to go. All right, you're still in control, Dan. We've got
B's 100.
B's
please.
for 100. Its name comes from the Middle English word bumbling. Its name comes from the Middle English word bumbling.
What is Bumblebee?
It's got to be Bumblebee. Yep. Let's take a look. Bumblebee is correct. Well done, Dan. Dan, you're on 1,800. Maxwell is on 2,800. 1,000 points difference. We've got 5, 4, 900, 1,200, 1,400 points on the board. You could take it out if you get them all correct.
Still possible. B's for 200.
Common name of an apiculturist.
Oh.
Bearing in mind we're in the bees category.
Yeah, what is a beekeeper?
Yep.
Let's take a look. Beekeeper is correct. Well done, Dan. Oh my God, 3 questions left. 2,000 versus 2,800. I'm going to have a stroke from the tension. Would you like 300, Dan?
Yes.
A large crowd of bees on the move. What do we say when they're moving?
What is a swarm?
Yes, I think of that, but I think there might be another word for it.
Ooh.
Well, when they're on the move specifically.
Yeah, when they're on the move,
because the worker bees, they go on the move one time, and then they mate, and then they die. Anyway. Forget that, red herring. Swarm is correct. Well done.
Be going.
Honestly, take what I say with a grain of salt.
400, please.
400 bees. The 3 classes of a honeybee colony. Interesting.
Ooh, the streak might be over. Classes of a honeybee colony. I have no idea. I would say...
Well, what are the classes of honeybee?
Not a helpful hint. I also don't know those. I think I've exhausted my bee knowledge.
Well, I mean, I don't know if this is correct, but we've got the one that they swarm to, which is the queen. Then we've got we've got drones. I don't know if they're the same as worker bees. I'm just spitballing here.
I'll just go ABC. I don't know.
Okay, Maxwell, this is your big opportunity. Put down away.
Yeah, I almost feel bad to do this because I think that your hints are pretty on target. So, what is worker, drone, and queen?
Let's take a look. A drone, queen, and worker is correct. Dan Maxwell has capitalized and he's now on 3,200 and in control. Unfortunately, Max can no longer win. Sorry, Dan can no longer win. Max, you're in control. Last question, B's 500. Let's do it. How many times does a worker go on a mating flight? Oh my God, I've given this one away.
Yeah. What is once?
Here I am thinking I know about bees, and really I've just inadvertently read a question that I've uploaded. The answer is 1. Well done, Maxwell. Let's have a round of applause. Maxwell has won 3,700. A great fight by Dan with a great comeback, 2,300. Fantastic effort, gentlemen. All right, let's wait for the applause to die down. And first, on the left, we've got Dan. Let's talk to Dan about all of the great things you're doing, Dan. So, apps. You're an app man. Do we still need apps?
Yes, absolutely. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Maxwell Ivy here on his performance. Tried to come back, made it somewhat dramatic, but he's been on my show before. Always love talking to Max. So, well done, sir. Yes. So I specifically do no code development. So there's a great big world out there of a lot of people that need software, that do applications, all kinds of cool different ideas that you're trying to launch. And that is specifically what we do, because it's faster, it's cheaper, and it can be overall a better experience for getting your particular software off the ground. Something like this awesome Jeoparty stuff you have going on.
Which type of people benefit the most from having a mobile app, Dan?
We work with mainly 2 types of people. Entrepreneurs, people in the startup space that are kind of just getting things off the ground, trying to get something launched, or really the small to mid-sized businesses. People who have some teams going, need to outsource some stuff. Those types of people. There's really not a specific type of niche I can give you, but those are really the 2 types of people that really benefit the most from it.
And in what ways can having an app benefit? What are some of the things you've seen, how people have been able to grow their business by having an app?
Yeah, a lot of times you're just starting a new one, right? Working with somebody right now that has a existing tool business, and he's using an application to kind of streamline it, track things. Never was really able to find anything off the shelf, just through Googling or a new friend ChatGPT or anything. So he's able to kind of build an internal tool for himself, which saves him money, but also gives him a subscription piece and a new revenue stream that he can bring something in with. So that's kind of, the dual fold ways that it can help you, whether you're, you have something existing already or you're starting something brand new.
And what's the deal with no-code apps? I mean, what does your client do? Do they kind of have the software, you provide that, and then they build the app themselves, drag and drop style? Is that what that's all about?
A little bit, but it's actually more of a bespoke service. So a lot of times, we all talked about, we're all very busy, got a lot of things going on, and you could go and learn these things yourself, and a lot of people do. And then eventually people start to get frustrated and run against the wall, and then they come to me to hire me to actually do it for them. So it's more of a done with you, done for you type of service with this, because there is still a learning curve. It's like you said, there's drag and drop pieces to it. Anyone can really learn it, but it also is very time consuming. There's a learning curve to it, just like anything else. So it's kind of a way to move a little bit faster with that.
Yeah, the app building's one side. What about do you advise people on what types of things they should put on the app and what they should not put on the app, for example?
Yes, so I do basically a consulting service with it, right? Because a lot of times people just kind of want things rubber stamped. I have this awesome idea, I want you to build this, and off we go. Whereas I like to question people and be like, well, do you really need that? I've learned it from my own experience. You can build the coolest, most feature-rich thing in the world, and nobody cares. If nobody wants to pay you for it or nobody wants a use for it, what was the point in doing that, right? I experienced this firsthand with a product of my own I recently launched. So that is something that, if you actually figure out what is it solving a problem, is it actually going to be useful for someone? And is someone actually volunteered to say, yes, I would use that or actually pay for that thing?
Yeah, that's a huge one. The validation of the idea. You know that movie Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner when they say build it and they will come. I always tell people that's the worst advice because nobody will come if you build it and they never wanted you to build it.
Yep, 100%. See it more often than not, sadly.
Yeah, and what types of well, first of all, how long does it take to sort of get the app built? How long do you work with people until they're able to, you know, be by themselves? And also, what types of businesses? I mean, I don't know. You sort of answered this, but what types of businesses are the best for this?
Yeah, I mean, again, I hate to say it, it's the classic developer answer of it depends. It really depends on how, you know, complex you're trying to build something for. So for example, there's people that we've worked with for over a year to be able to get something to market. There's people that we've worked with for a couple of weeks. We've been able to get something to market. So it really depends on the complexity of what you're trying to do. The general, you know, milestone I give for people is try to expect about 90 days. That's usually a pretty fair turnaround time. Some things take not as long. Some things take a little bit longer. But really, again, I think one of the sweet spots of this is somebody in that solopreneur space, somebody in that small, like just kind of getting started, getting traction off the ground. You know, we've worked with logistics companies, insurance agencies, you know, fitness companies, ice cream businesses, you know, all kinds of different places, people that are kind of, you know, the first time I ended up wanting to go down this route, I got a quote for something that somebody was going to charge me $250,000 to get this idea launched. You know, not everyone kind of has that cash laying around. So, you know, definitely people who aren't that cash flush with stuff, but not just starting out, you know, very, you know, like, hey, I don't have any money to invest in this type of thing. So those are really the types of businesses that we can really get the best results for.
I would have loved to see their pitch to you for $250,000. Like, did they have a long phone call with you at least?
No, it was like I put in a thing on their website and they said, okay, based on this, it's going to be anywhere from $200,000 to $250,000. And I was like,
I mean,
awesome.
Guess I'll keep looking then. Let's go to Fiverr. Awesome. And what's the process, Dan? So your business is called Dapper Mobile Apps. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
dappermobileapps.com. And if somebody wants to have a chat to you, Dan, what's the process? The link is in the description and the show notes. So do they have they book a call with you and have a one-on-one, discuss the project? Is that the best way to go forward?
Yep, that is. And then there's also a link on there, which is actually a cool tool that I've built, which is an app cost calculator. So it will actually spit out, say you have an idea. You can click on that. You can put in your little parameters of I want it to do this, 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 and that. And it will spit out an actual quote right there. I promise you it won't be $250,000. And you can see exactly what it might cost you. And then we can talk about that, you know, on a call or whatever it might be. So yeah, those would be the two things I would point you to. That calculator is really, really cool.
Dan, because you know what I hate? I mean, I wouldn't like the one that gave you the $250,000 quote, but the ones where they take the appointment but they don't give you any pricing info. And to me, I just want a ballpark figure. So that's good that you give them a ballpark, and obviously it can go up and down from there. So
and it's free.
And it's free to do. So
Yep.
if you are thinking of getting an app, it is a great way to get in contact with people because notifications, I guess, is the big one. So whatever you're doing, emails are hit and miss. They are a little bit. But anytime somebody messages me on an app, I notice it straight away, and you can't beat those push notifications. So that's really the big benefit of getting inside people's pockets with mobile apps, and I don't think they're going to go away. So you probably need to, particularly I'm thinking like all the coaches and stuff, course creators, all those type of people that are constantly building content, having an app is going to drive people to, whatever you're doing, and you'll be able to show them. So if you are in the market for having an app, have a chat with Dan. I'll put the URL in the description. Thank you, Dapper Dan.
Thanks, Julian. Appreciate you.
Wonderful. All right, let's meet another fantastic guest, Maxwell Ivy, who I seem to remember as the blind blogger from years ago, but I don't think you have that blog anymore, do you, Maxwell?
Actually, yes, I still have the blindblogger.net. I am in transition, but I have a lot of great content there that I'm still trying to figure out what to do with. So people can find me at the blindblogger.net, or where I'm at now, the accessibilityadvantage.com. And before I get any farther, I want to thank you, Dan, for ignoring our host's great hints on that bees question and letting me take the $400 question that led to me having the win. So thank you for that, Dan.
Both of you played very well, and you played in the spirit of the game. And Dan was wonderful, but also Maxwell. I think you deserved your win. Thank you.
You did.
Yeah.
Now, so I guess the blind blogger one was the first one that kind of took off for you. Would that be fair to say, Maxwell?
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
So, tell us a bit about, now you've kind of, what do you call it when you move, you pivot. You've pivoted a little bit with what you're doing.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit about the accessibility stuff, because I think that is a hugely interesting market for people. And we talked about just a few things you can do to make your content accessible to the disability audience, which is quite a big audience, and it's kind of a minimal effort to just make things accessible for them. Do you want to tell us a bit about that, Maxwell?
Right. Well, the great thing about accessibility is, as you said, a lot of it takes minimal effort, but it also will make your website, your app, your podcast more enjoyable for people who don't have disabilities. So a lot of accessibility things also can help you with your search engine optimization for your website. I would say the most important thing is keep your design simple, minimal, design from the point of view of keyboard commands first and mouse or swipe or hovers later, because in general, adaptive technology users like myself don't have access to the mouse. We can sometimes simulate a mouse, but it is not reliable that we will be able to click that button when we need to. So if you just design from the point of view of your users using keyboards and then expand out from that, you'll be a whole lot better off. One of the big ones is alternative text descriptions for your images and for images that are linked to buttons, links, or videos. And that one has gotten so much easier because just about every system for content creation will prompt you and say, this image doesn't have alt text yet. Would you like to add it? And some will even give you a little hint as to what kind of text you should be thinking about adding. And you mentioned ChatGPT earlier. ChatGPT is even getting good at creating alt text descriptions for people that they can add their images when they upload them to their websites or share them on social media. So alternative text is still a big one. Creating headings, because headings are the quickest way for an adaptive tech user to navigate your website or your app. Making sure your heading structure is organized and makes sense. So H2, H3, H4 for people who know what that is. Use actual text instead of images masquerading as text. Make sure that you offer color combinations that allow people to have the highest level of contrast possible between the text and the background, or vice versa. Some of these things are, as you said, they're really simple. And I don't think most people set out to create inaccessible content. I think most people just don't think about it. And as long as we approach things from the point of view that I believe you want to do this, you just don't know how, or as we mentioned earlier, you don't have the time to think about the how, then I think we have much better conversations when I do visit a website or an app that doesn't work for me, and I can approach the host or the webmaster with a more positive, non-threatening approach to, instead of, you need to fix this and this is the solution you need to embrace, this is the outcome we need to achieve, and how can we, working together, come up with something that works for that? And sometimes the best way you can solve an accessibility issue is just make it really easy for the disabled person to contact you or your customer service people. Yeah. A lot of times things can be handled very quickly in a done-for-you situation if you don't hide your contact information, or if you don't have people actually answering those phones or emails.
Yeah, it's interesting, Maxwell, and talking about alt text on images. Like, the only reason in the past I've ignored that is because I just didn't know what it meant. But then, now we start talking about things like Google SEO. You talk about ChatGPT. Now, all of the search engine stuff is going to start using AI, where they're reading these types of alt text as well. And, even if you don't, you're not thinking in terms of accessibility, but just having a good website, by having a good website, it's probably going to be more accessible anyway as a result. So, hopefully you do care about that, making it accessible. But even if you don't, if you just follow some of these practices, it's going to be better for you as well as the people reading it. And because sometimes I think it's the sad thing is that we don't put ourselves in other people's shoes. We really should. I was talking to you about, my nana used to listen to the cricket on the radio, and how she was so thankful that they would be descriptive of everything that's going on. If you could do that on your website, and you can properly, like you say, use text rather than images, properly describe everything. And I guess part of it is websites. A good website is now not a fancy website. Like, we went through a period where we were having them look amazing, but they didn't really have any information that was accessible to search engines or people. Would you agree with that, Max? That a good website is now a simple website?
Definitely agree with that.
Yeah, Max. Yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with it. In fact, I tell people all the time that simple design should be as important a part of the definition of accessibility as alt text or proper headings or select boxes, But as far as the regulations go in the UK, the US, or Australia, it's not one of those things that's been accepted by the majority of the disability community, but I agree. And to what you mentioned, accessibility, search engine optimization, and usability, they all go hand in hand. What is great for one is really good for the other one. And then just a point on what you said about alt text and search engine optimization. The search engines have been indexing your alt text for years. The only difference now is they're going to do a much better job of it because of artificial intelligence. But in general, the first 140 to 180 characters of your alt text has been indexed by the search engines for years now. And that's one of the ways that I've been able to get website owners and blog owners to add their alt text, is not by telling them, hey, it's the right thing to do, and not by telling them that they'll get in trouble if they don't. It's by telling them, hey, you do realize people may visit your website if you have the alt text. And once you can give them a good reason why, then you can get to the how.
Yeah, you have to plug into the selfish option, unfortunately. And how do people get in touch with you, Maxwell, if they want to talk to you about some of these things?
Right. They can go to theaccessibilityadvantage.com. Email and scheduling links are both on there if they want to have a conversation with me. There's a link on there if they want to find out what I generally charge to review websites or apps, and what they get in return. And just one last comment that occurred to me while I was listening to Dan is, if you think about it, you basically brought two ideal guests together today by happenstance, accident, or by providence, depending on how you want to look at it, because Dan builds apps and he can help people make these apps that drive traffic to their website. I do accessibility, so I can make sure that these apps he's creating for you are accessible and inclusive, and a lot of things that make them inclusive make them better for people that are using mobile devices and trying to do this on their phones, as you mentioned earlier with push notifications. So y'all basically got two of the best things you could have in one conversation today if you're worried about your website driving traffic and making more money.
Well said there, Maxwell. So wonderful. I've got all of your contact details in the show notes if you want to get in touch with Maxwell Ivy. And also thank you to the fantastic Dan Hafner. Thank you, gentlemen. That was a great episode. I'm going to wrap things up now. Thanks for listening. Let's have a round of applause for our guests. Canned applause, but it's still good. I'll take it. All right, thanks for listening. I'm going to wrap things up. See you next time. Bye-bye.